Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, wherever you are. I'm Tom Bailey, the president of Teachers College, and look forward so much to welcoming our students back on campus this fall. One of the things I've really missed the most about the past year has been seeing students on campus. I always enjoy seeing our students and talking to them in the hallways at TC, in our cafe, the dining hall, even in the neighborhood. It just hasn't been the same, and I can't wait to get back to everyday life as we knew it. We know that we will be welcoming new students to TC for the first time, as well as welcoming back continuing students whose studies were interrupted in March 2020. And we're welcoming back continuing students who began their studies this past year and who have never been to campus. Tom Rock and his team, the Division of Student Affairs, have been hard at work thinking about this and putting together programming as we prepare to welcome back, orient, and re-familiarize our students to campus life. You'll hear more about this in a bit from the student services staff members. We know this is one of the reasons you chose TC, to be in New York City and to be on our campus. We are committed to making sure that you have a positive and successful student experience. Most importantly, one that is safe. Return to campus policies and procedures have and will continue to be rolled out this summer. We do have a vaccination mandate, and you'll hear much more information about that in a bit. We will be hosting in-person events on campus this year, starting on October 1st at 2021. Of course, our classes will be in person as well. Members of our staff are here today to walk through the existing policies and to answer your questions. Thank you to those who submitted questions ahead of time. Our staff members will incorporate the answers to many of your questions into their remarks. Also, feel free to add questions in the chat box, and we will answer as many as we can at the end of the program. We expect that some policies and procedures are evolving, and we will have additional student town halls this summer to address them. Also, visit the preparedness website for additional information and updates. This is the go-to website for up-to-date information. You can access this site from the TC homepage. Now I'd like to introduce our Vice Provost for Student Affairs, Tom Rock. Tom Rock, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you, President Bailey, and welcome to all of you. I am also so delighted to see you here today and to know that you are engaged with us and logged on from wherever you are. As President Bailey mentioned, we have been working really hard to prepare and to get ready for your return in just a couple of months. And again, we recognize those three very distinct groups that President Bailey mentioned who are returning to campus. And we have plans in place for our continuing students who, studies were abruptly interrupted. We have plans in place to obviously welcome our brand new students through our new student orientation activities that you'll hear about from Denise Bonetta in a little bit. And we also, realize that there are students who have just never set foot on campus at all, who started classes in the fall of 2020. So they may be familiar with Teachers College academically, but the physicality of our campus and the offices and the staff and certainly the people. So we will have plans in place for all of those different populations. Our student affairs offices will be open when you are here and on campus. So we will be open 5 days a week, of course, and staffed appropriately. We're located on the first floor of one of the main buildings at TC. It's just off of the accessibility driveway, and there's an entrance right there on 120th Street by the security guard. It makes just easy access to all of our student affairs offices, and then many of our student service partners are pretty close by our main student affairs offices as well. So keeping the community safe has been our priority since the beginning of the pandemic. You will hear much more about the vaccination mandate from Karen Ross shortly, but all students must be fully vaccinated or receive a religious or medical exemption in order to be present on campus this fall. Some students have been approved for remote learning this fall. A survey was sent out to all students, and we are just finishing round one of that process and responding to the roughly 500 students who have submitted requests for remote learning. We have approved many of them who have travel or visa restrictions, and we've communicated with them. And we've also approved students for medical or health reasons to be remote on campus in the fall only. Other than those reasons, we expect to see you on campus, and we look forward to welcoming you back. I want to share a little bit about fall modalities that we're expecting for the fall semester. So we expect, of course, that our students will have a positive student experience on campus, but we also recognize that it might be a little different, especially at first, when you first return to campus in the fall. But as we proceed through throughout this semester, we do hope to return to a much more normal, and I put normal in quotes, campus life. And we will begin cautiously. We have to begin cautiously. And we are keeping up to date and keeping our eye on shifting guidelines and what's happening both in our city and our state, certainly nationally and globally as well. We will continue to respond to the changing environments as we need to. The fall modalities, so our classrooms are set up, we're setting up for technology. We know that classes will be in person, but these classes might have a small number of students who will be Zooming in. Again, these are students who have requested a remote accommodation, have been reviewed, and have been approved for remote accommodation. Students can also expect that our on-campus dining will return, and you'll hear more from this from Dwayne White in a moment. If your class has 30 students enrolled in it, we're expecting that, right, we'll make sure that the class is in a classroom that can safely accommodate 30 students. So we are expecting a much more normal academic life in terms of your classes. For health and safety updates, many of you have asked about this, and we want to be able to respond. Some have asked about air quality and cleaning protocols on campus. I can assure you that we have undergone more rigorous cleaning protocols this year than we obviously ever have before, and we will continue to do so. We have cleaned and updated the air filters on all air conditioning systems at the college, and in fact, there are 6 to 7 fresh air changes that occur each hour throughout the different systems on campus. We have also purchased new air purifiers, and we've installed plexiglass barriers in many of our front-facing offices. Other changes that you might likely see on campus will be around some utilization of space. Some staff members are staggering. So while I mentioned that our offices will be open 5 days a week, doesn't necessarily mean that each staff member will be there 5 days a week. Some staff members will work from home and might even be in what we're calling like hoteling space, which is basically, at a hotel where you're logging in your laptop, you're sharing workspaces, and somebody else might be in that workstation another day. So that's going to be very different for some, especially for continuing students. So just be patient with us. We'll certainly make sure that we have signage, but we're really looking forward to utilizing and looking at our space much differently at Teachers College, especially during these really challenging times and as we return to campus, to utilize the space that we have in the safest possible way. Some students have also expressed some concern around campus crime, safety. We're all seeing an uptick, certainly in certain areas. But I want to let you know that Teachers College is located in one of the safest precincts in New York City. We are in the 26th Police Precinct, and it currently has one of the lowest crime rates in New York City. In this past year, transit crime, we're all reading and hearing things about transit, but in this past year, transit crime in this particular precinct declined by 7%, and serious felony crimes declined by 5%. So there has not been a crime surge in our area. However, we do encourage students and everyone to just remain vigilant. Hopefully, walk walk together with students and take advantage of many of the safety measures that we have in place. Columbia offers a free escort service on the Columbia University Transportation and Safety website. So at any time, students or anyone can contact this escort service, and it's walking literally door to door, and sometimes it might even be transportation. Columbia also offers a shuttle service, and they have expanded routes that we are anticipating. Some of these routes have been expanded to Brooklyn and Queens. And again, these are on the Columbia Transportation and Safety website. So students, or really anyone, could literally, if they're in Brooklyn, walk to that Columbia shuttle station, and everybody on that shuttle would be vaccinated because Columbia has a vaccination mandate, just as Teachers College, and then take a nice safe ride up to Morningside Heights, get right off that shuttle at Teachers College. So just check out that website for more information. Masking policies. The masking policy is currently in place for all indoor activities and facilities at Teachers College. Outdoor at Teachers College, of course, masking is not required. We are aware that it's been lifted in New York State, but we are following closely the updates on this. And so more information will be announced on our preparedness site as we get much closer to the fall semester regarding any updates on the masking policy. For social distance policies, right now we are anticipating that there will be no cap on capacity and that there will also be no need for density requirements except for approved events. So with that, let me now turn this over to Karen Ross, my colleague from Student Health and Wellness, who will go through some very important information for you about the vaccination. I'll be back in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. As he stated, I'm Karen B. Ross, the Associate Director for the Office of Student Health and Wellness. I'm glad you've been able to join us today, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon. I'd like to share some information with you regarding Teachers College's vaccination mandate as it pertains to you, our students. So why the vaccine mandate? So research continues to show the safety and efficacy of the vaccination. Currently, over 58% of New York City residents are fully vaccinated. In Manhattan, this percentage is even higher at 68%. As New York City and New York State continue to show high percentages of vaccinations, the positivity rate is decreasing. New York City has one of the lowest positivity rates in the nation at less than 1%. The vaccine has been authorized for emergency use, and we anticipate that the Federal Drug Administration and the World Health Organization will fully approve the vaccination by the time the mandate takes effect. High vaccine coverage is critical to preserving the health of TC and the surrounding community. With that being said, you will not know who is or who is not vaccinated. Faculty, staff, and students will not be allowed on campus unless they have met the vaccine requirement or have been approved for a medical or religious exemption. So what is the vaccine upload process? If you haven't heard about it already, here it is. So the Office of Student Health and Wellness will be processing vaccination records. Students who intend to access campus for any reason must be fully vaccinated and submit proof of their COVID-19 vaccination at least 10 working days prior to entering campus to ensure adequate time for processing. You may upload your vaccination record by visiting the Teachers College Preparedness website or the Insurance and Immunization Records website. Once there, follow the link for the COVID-19 vaccination submission, complete the Google form, and upload your proof of vaccination for review. Please be sure to record accurate dates of vaccination. Additionally, your image has to be less than 10 megabytes. Vaccines must have been administered on or after December 1st, 2020. We're in the process of updating our COVID vaccination form to include the newly accepted vaccinations as listed by the World Health Organization. And students have asked about notification of approval or denial. If you haven't received notification already, please note that we are processing many records and will respond in the order that they received. All students will receive notification well before the fall semester begins. So submission deadlines. Please note that you have until August 1st, 2021 to submit proof of vaccination. However, please submit your proof of vaccination as soon as possible to avoid any disruptions with your access to campus. Beginning on August 16th, 2021, any individual who has not submitted their vaccination documentation or has not received an approved medical or religious exemption will have a red pass on the daily health screening and will be unable to access campus. If the vaccine you've received isn't approved by the World Health Organization, you will have to wait a minimum of 28 days before receiving a World Health Organization approved vaccine here in the United States. During this time, you will have access to the residence halls as a residential student and will have to undergo weekly testing. We will be sending out communication within the coming weeks in order to be able to track students in this category who are unable to be vaccinated by the deadline so that we can assist with the vaccination process. Exemptions. As Tom mentioned previously, there are medical and religious exemptions. In accordance with the New York State public health laws, the college will allow for medical and religious exemptions from TC's COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Students who cannot be vaccinated for COVID-19 because of a medical reason or sincerely held religious belief, practice, or observance may request either a medical or religious exemption through the Office of Student Health and Wellness. Students who wish to apply for a medical or religious exemption from the COVID-19 vaccination must complete and submit the appropriate exemption request form at least 15 days prior to the day of planned campus access to allow for processing. And again, this information is also available on the TC Preparedness website as well as the Insurance and Immunization Records website. If approved for an exemption, you will have to undergo weekly testing. Requesting a medical exemption does not equate to registration as an individual with a disability, and the same goes for religious exemption. If you require disability-related accommodations outside of this exemption, you must go through the Office of Access and Services for Individuals with Disabilities, or OASID. You must go through their registration process, and you can contact them at oacid@tc.edu for more information. So many students have asked about the PCR test and if it's still a requirement, especially if you're vaccinated or have been able to show proof that you've been vaccinated. Well, at this time, the college is in the process of making final decisions for the fall semester. However, at this time, it is still required that all individuals, including those vaccinated, will need to complete the COVID-19 testing requirement for access to campus during the summer. Acceptable test results have to be from a PCR test administered after May 1st, 2021. Additionally, students are still required to complete the COVID-19 health and safety training and the daily health screening. Access to Columbia University's main campus. In order to access the main campus, the green check from TC will be accepted on Columbia's main campus. You will not have to complete the Reopen CU app. TC's daily health screening will allow access to the main campus once completed. If there are any issues, please contact TC's Public Safety at 212-678-3111, or you can contact us at covidstudentcare@tc.columbia.edu. Columbia University is currently operating 7 locations that provide vaccinations to Columbia affiliates, 5 of which can offer vaccines to their family members as well as to other patients. Morningside campus appointments at Lerner Hall can be made through Columbia Health. Booking an appointment can be done via the scheduling section of the Columbia Health patient portal. All appointments are subject to vaccine availability. Walk-in appointments may also be available, and there'll be more information to come within the coming weeks. If there are any other questions regarding the vaccination mandate or COVID-19 test, please contact us at covidstudentcare@tc.columbia.edu. And now I will turn it over to my colleague, Denise Bonetta, the Director of the Graduate Student Life Development.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, everybody. As Karen mentioned, my name is Denise Bonetta, and I am the Director of Graduate Student Life and Development, otherwise known as GSLD. I'm here to talk today about student life and academic life. So I'll first start with orientation. To any of our new students who are watching, congratulations on your acceptance. We're really excited to welcome you to campus. With that, a few quick updates. So all new students will be invited to take a Canvas course. So Canvas is our learning management system here at Teachers College. And so we'll have a course on there called TC Foundations, which is really going to be for you to navigate all the resources and services that you need to be familiar with while you start here on campus. You can do that on your own time. So it's really just to make sure that you can use August to familiarize yourself with how TC operates. We'll then do a full week of digital orientation the week of August 30th. And so that will include our NSO 360 program, a welcome from college leadership, and a variety of panels for you to learn about services like that involve student health and wellness, campus safety, planning for your future, how to get connected on campus, and how to set up for success. All those sessions, all the panels will be recorded. The day after the panel will have digital drop-in hours. Those won't be recorded, but that's a chance for you to hop on Zoom and talk with any of the panelists that you heard from the day before to ask them any specific questions that you still might have. We're also plan digital orientation to really speak to your schedules. So it won't be a full day of virtual events. They're really around lunchtime, Eastern time, or at night. Also, you might be hearing from your academic programs about their welcome sessions. So while that is a part of our orientation program, it might not fall in the week of August 30th. When our orientation portal launches in August, you'll see the full schedule, and then you'll also see the information for your academic program. But should your academic program be reaching out now, just know that that's for your specific program. And when we refer to Welcome Week or orientation, we're talking about the college-wide program. I now want to talk a little bit about events. So Teachers College just announced our new event policy, and we're excited about it. So starting on September 15th, we're going to do some in-person programming for our new students. That'll be both for our students who are brand new to TC this fall, but then also events for our students who have never been on our New York campus. Those events will be campus tours, walking tours in New York City, and other events for you to familiarize yourself with our campus, our surrounding area, and resources available to you. All other campus events will begin on October 1st. So that's for our entire TC community. Just as a note, as Student Affairs and GSLD hope to hold on to a hybrid model. We realized that there was a lot more engagement from our student body because a lot of our students have so many other time commitments that they always can't make it to campus. So students were able to meet with us more often, attend more workshops as we were virtual. So in GSLD and Student Affairs, we're hoping to offer both this fall semester, and we actually encourage our student orgs to do the same. With that, I'm going to switch to student orgs. So like I just said, 10/1, so October 1st, would be the date that student organizations can start doing in-person programming. We'll support you all with that. And so if you're a student org student leader who's currently listening to this, more guidance will be provided by our office come August. But if you want to get a head start on just brainstorming, reach out to us and we're happy to talk to you throughout the summer. Like I said, for Student Affairs, I really do also encourage our student orgs to hold on to a hybrid model. So in September, if you're planning to still do events and meetings, those would all be virtual. But then as you head into the fall semester, we really want to encourage our students to think creatively about how to still engage our students who either can't come to campus for that time or just aren't going to be on our campus this fall semester because they're studying virtually. I do then now want to switch to academic life. So for academic life, we really encourage all of our students to go onto the MyTC portal and check your class schedule. Your class schedule currently reflects how your class is scheduled. So it'll say if it's virtual or if it has a class location. Please note that those are not fully finalized yet, and so they are subject to change, but we are hoping to confirm everything as soon as possible. We want our students to be placed in the classroom that's appropriate, and then also for our faculty members to have that information as well. We get a lot of questions about the libraries, so I do want to remind everybody that both the Gottsman Library at Teachers College and the CU libraries are still open, and they have been open throughout the pandemic. I do want to give a special shout out to our librarians who have staffed that and made sure that that was a resource available to our students throughout this past year. Both websites have information about how you can access those spaces, and so we just ask that before you attend the library that you go onto those websites and just make sure that you're familiar with what's being offered currently. The Gottsman's Libraries actually has a live digital chat, and so you could chat with our librarians just to make sure you have everything you need before you visit, or if they could even help you virtually instead of coming to campus. As we said earlier, for CU, your TC Green Check does allow you to get onto the CU campus. And should you run into a problem when you're accessing the CU libraries, you can go over to Teachers College and talk to one of our public safety officers and they will help you. But for the most part, you should be able to get on Columbia University's campus with your TC Green Check. We also got a question about, between classes, where should students go? So there's two answers to that. One is that our college leadership has identified spaces for students where you might have a class in person, and then right after you might have a digital class, so you'll need somewhere on campus to do that. So those spaces are going to be identified for you. But then also as a student, most of our public spaces will be fully open. And so, we encourage you to stay around campus, hang out between classes, get to see your friends. All those spaces will be open as usual. So that's it for me. We will have Q&A later. So if any of you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat and we'll address them. But for For now, I want to pass it on to Dwayne White, the Executive Director of Residential Services, Dinings, and Card Services.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Dwayne White, Executive Director of Campus Services, and I just want to give you some quick updates on card services, dining services, and residential services. For card services, I just want to encourage everyone to make certain to upload your photos so that we can pre-print your ID cards to expedite distribution. If you uploaded your photo and we pre-printed your card last year, those cards are still available for pickup, or we can mail the cards to you. Anyone who wishes to have the ID card mailed to them should visit the Card Services homepage for those details. For dining services, I'm really excited to announce this fall we have a new dining vendor that will be joining us, which will be offering many new and exciting options, which include some grab-and-go options that will be both available in the Grace Dodge Dining Hall and the Everett Cafe. Please stay tuned for more details via emails as well as updates to our dining homepage. Residential services. We do still have some housing available for the coming year. Please make certain if you're on the waiting list that you continue to check your email for updates on housing offers. Our move-in dates for the fall are July 30th and August 13th. Those are for early move-ins. If our normal move-in week will be August 30th through September 3rd. Appointments are required for all move-ins and should be scheduled through our housing portal. As for the coming year, as Karen mentioned, everyone is required to submit proof of COVID vaccine or an approved exemption before August 1st. This includes anyone age 12 and older in family housing. International students who cannot be vaccinated before arriving in the U.S. are encouraged to request an early move-in so that they can complete the required vaccines at Columbia or a local pharmacy. Please email housing@tc.columbia.edu should you need to arrive early. Weekly COVID testing will be required for anyone exempt from the vaccine, as well as we may require testing for others. Face coverings will be required at all times in any of our communal spaces with the exception of our courtyards. Communal spaces will be open with set capacities. We do have some fitness rooms in the residence halls that we hope to open before the end of the fall semester. We'll continue with enhanced cleaning throughout our buildings. A question came up about guests. We're still currently reviewing the feasibility of allowing guests in the residence halls. I hope to have an answer about that in the coming weeks. Our community development team will continue to do programming in person as well as online. The in-person events will require caps as well as pre-sign-ups. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box or feel free to email me at white@tc.edu. And now here's Patricia Gibson to discuss international student services. Thank you so much and look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Gibson, and I am the Senior Associate Director at the Office of International Students and Scholars, or OISS for short. Staff at the OISS is here to provide immigration regulatory advising, issuance of your Form I-20 or DS 2019, and to support the successful completion of your studies while at Teachers College. We understand that this past year posed many challenges to international students who were impacted by travel restrictions due to COVID-19. The spread of COVID-19 has severely impacted routine visa processing services at U.S. consulates and embassies. But we do have good news. U.S. embassies and consulates around the world are resuming phased reopenings, keeping the safety of staff and applicants as their priority. While backlogs and delays have been reported, student non-immigrant applications are being prioritized. We recommend contacting the U.S. consulate or embassy directly regarding specific instructions and requirements regarding your visa interview. I would like to briefly remind international students on the process of obtaining their initial Form I-20 or DS 2019. If you have been admitted for the fall 2021 term, please submit the initial I-20/DS2019 request via TC Compass. You will be able to upload documentation in support of your request for a Form I-20 or DS2019. The deadline to submit your completed application is July 15, 2021. We understand the deadline is fast approaching. We encourage you to send us an email at tcintl@tc.columbia.edu if there are specific circumstances preventing you from submitting your request. More information regarding this process can be found on our website at www.tc.columbia.edu/international. We also understand travel to the US may continue to be difficult for some of you who are currently abroad, and you plan on requesting remote learning for the fall 2021 term. If you have been approved for remote learning for the fall, make sure to obtain an updated Form I-20 or DS2019 reflecting your new program start date for the spring 2022 term. If you have any questions regarding this updated document, make sure to contact the OISS at tcintl@tc.columbia.edu. As you continue your journey in obtaining your F1 or J1 documents, we encourage you to plan ahead when making your travel arrangements. For instance, airline companies have COVID testing documentation requirements prior to boarding the aircraft. Check with the individual airlines for further information. Additionally, CDC has implemented negative COVID testing requirements for passengers arriving to the US. As of January 26, 2021, CDC requires all passengers entering the US to get tested no more than 3 days before their flight departs and to present the negative result or documentation of having recovered from COVID-19 to the airline before boarding the flight. For more information regarding this requirement, please refer to the CDC website. Please also be reminded that incoming students may not enter the United States more than 30 days prior to the program start date indicated on your I-20 or DS2019 form, even if you have already obtained an F1 or J1 visa. Please take this time to refer to your Form I-20 or DS2019 to check your program start date. We would also like to take this time to remind international students returning to campus regarding the TC vaccination requirement, as Karen mentioned earlier today. Please note that you must be fully vaccinated with the vaccine authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration or the World Health Organization by the start of the fall semester. We encourage all to get vaccinated as soon as they are able, but we recognize the challenges in some international destinations and the lack of vaccine availability. If you have questions or concerns regarding your vaccination status or return to campus, please contact COVID Student Care at tc.columbia.edu. Our team at the Office of Student Health and Wellness can assist you and help you connect with CU Health if you are completing the vaccination process after arrival to the US and before the start of classes. Lastly, as Denise previously mentioned, the OISS will be participating in the digital orientation. We look forward to meeting you and sharing information regarding F1 and J1 visa status and employment eligibility. At this point in time, I would like to pass the baton back to Dr. Rock.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gibson, for all of that really important information from the OISS. And thank you to my colleagues as well, Denise, Karen, and Dwayne, for all of the information that you presented as well. I also just wanted to acknowledge that there are other members of our Student Affairs leadership team who really cannot wait to meet you as well when you return to campus. Ashley Smallwood is our director of TC Next. That is our TC reimagined, rebranded, really everything career service, career education office. It stands for Navigating and Exploring for Tomorrow. And Ashley has a whole suite of programming ready for you, both in person and virtual, as you get back to campus and really think about your next step. after leaving Teachers College once you graduate. So Ashley, you'll get to know. Another member of our leadership team, Jonathan Johnson, who works alongside Karen Ross in the Office of Student Health and Wellness. Jonathan is an assistant director, but a member of our team. And Jonathan really oversees the student support and counseling side in the Office of Student Health and Wellness. So at any time, whether you want to connect with Jonathan virtually or in person, he is available. And then you will also get to know Karen Kelly. Karen is our Manager of Administrative Services within the Division of Student Affairs, and really just keeps all of our offices in terms of the administration, the operations, the organizations running. So you'll get to know Karen as well. So I just wanted to acknowledge these other really critical student affairs leadership team members who are not presenting today, but you will 100% get to know when we're all back on campus. Okay, and you can actually read a little bit more about them if you'd like from our Division of Student Affairs website, and you can we've got our leadership team profiled there. Okay, at this point then, I think we're right on schedule to turn it over to Denise, who will help facilitate our questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. So hi, everyone, again. We know throughout this YouTube and stream that you've been putting questions in the chat, so we're going to start addressing those. We're going to bring everybody back on screen. We're going to project the question on the screen. I'll read it out loud, and then I'll turn it over to the person on screen who could best answer that question. We've also asked Marissa Sala from the Office of Access and Services for Individuals with Disabilities to be here in case there's any questions about navigating a disability on campus or the accommodation process. So you're welcome to continue adding questions to the chat, but we have folks on the back end who have been reading them and who will soon project them on the screen for us to start answering. So the first question is, as international students are only allowed to enter the US 30 days before classes start, I'm planning to arrive on August 8th. I'll get the vaccine as soon as I arrive to New York City. Is this too late? Patricia or Tom, either of you want to answer that? Or even Karen?
Yeah. Patricia, are you good with that one?
Sure. So the guideline is that all students who are planning on attending in-person classes are fully vaccinated by the start of classes. So as long as you start the vaccination process as soon as you arrive in the United States, that should be sufficient time in order for you to be fully vaccinated by the start of classes. Karen, is there anything else you'd like to add?
The only other thing I'd like to add to that part is in the interim, while you're awaiting full vaccination, you will have to undergo weekly COVID testing screening. And you will only have access to residential halls at that time. It won't be until you're fully vaccinated that you'll have access to TC's campus fully.
Great. Thanks, you both. All right, next question. I'm moving in August 13th, submitted proof, but it hasn't been approved yet. Does it need to be approved for me to move in early? So Karen, do you want to talk a little bit about just the approval process for the vaccines first?
Sure. So for the approval process, as I was mentioning earlier, so we're going through them. There's so many that you've submitted already, so thank you so much. So for the vaccine process, in terms of your submission, we don't necessarily need approval yet, but approval needs to happen before the start of classes, as Patricia also mentioned again. So just note that you will receive notification from the Office of Student Health and Wellness regarding your approval or denial. We're still working with IT in terms of being able to send out those blast emails to students regarding their approvals.
And then Dwayne, if a student has any questions about early move-in, who should they contact?
They can email housing@tc.columbia.edu. And we're working closely with Karen to make certain that we get everyone's proof of vaccination before August 1st for the move-in.
Perfect. All right. Is there a place on the MyTC portal to see proof of vaccination? I don't recall if I've turned it in or not. Karen, can you speak to that one?
Unfortunately, there's no way of telling on the portal whether or not you submitted your vaccination, proof of vaccination. What I would recommend is if you're not sure, please do it again, just to be on the safe side. We prefer that you send a duplicate in as opposed to not sending anything at all.
Great. All right. So if somebody has an exemption, shouldn't everyone know they've been vaccinated? What about the safety of people with children who can't get the shot? That person can pass along anything to them. Tom, do you want to answer this one?
Sure. So Right. So this is something obviously that we're considering as we also think about the masking, policy. And so I would not be surprised if we do continue our masking policy going into the future, just for the safety of everyone, so everybody remains masked. But due to confidentiality, health requirements, privacy, compliance, no, I don't think there's any school in the nation that will be sharing who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated on campus. So we will maintain the confidentiality of that, and the safest thing to do is just to continue masking if you have concerns about that.
Thanks, Tom. All right, so I've already received both doses of the COVID vaccine, and I believe it has just been approved by the WHO. Oh, so that's the COVID Shield vaccine. Is it a possibility for me to receive the Pfizer vaccine as well when I arrive in New York City?
I guess I'll take a shot at this one, and anyone can jump in if I leave anything out. So I have to double check about whether or not COVID Shield is accepted by the World Health Organization, because I check this list just about every day, but there's so many that are being added to the list that I can't memorize them all, right? But in the event that, let's say, for example, this is one that isn't approved by the World Health Organization, of course, you will have to wait a minimum of 28 days before receiving a vaccination here in the United States. But if it's something that is approved by the World Health Organization, there's nothing else that you need to do.
Great. All right. So I plan to return to campus fall 2021. I have the Excelsior Pass, but not my original vaccination card. Maybe you answered this, not sure. Where can I submit this and by when? So Karen, another question for you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that question. So unfortunately, the Excelsior Pass is not acceptable as a form of documentation to prove your vaccination for COVID. You will have to be able to present something, either a CDC card, a WHO card, anything that shows the actual dates of vaccination, the type of vaccination that you've received. Unfortunately, that information isn't on the Excelsior Pass.
Great. Okay, a little confused by the green pass thing that we need to bring to enter campus. Will we receive an email regarding that? Tom, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So off the Teachers College homepage, you'll see right at the top, there's a link to what's called the College Preparedness site. You should bookmark that page, but go to the College Preparedness site, and then you'll see the campus access requirements. There's a section for campus access requirements for students, one for faculty, staff, and it's very simple. There are currently 3 procedures to access campus and to get the green pass. Those are to watch and complete a training video process. That's step number 1. The second step currently is to present a negative COVID-19 PCR diagnostic test. And the third is to do the daily health screening and answer a few questions. Once you do those 3 items, you will see that you will receive the green check for that day to access campus. And then that is what you will need to access the campus. That's our current process through the end of the summer, but as soon as the vaccines are all uploaded and that process, we will soon be adding the vaccine status to that daily health screening as well.
I also want to add just that the PCR test has to have been one that was administered after May 1st.
Oh, right, yeah. To access campus right now, exactly. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, May 1st or later.
Yep. As somebody who was just on campus yesterday, really easy, follow the steps and make sure you have that green check mark before you come to campus. But once you have that green check mark, you come, you share that to the public safety officer, and you tap your ID card if you have it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're switching gears a little bit. Will campus gym facilities be open during the fall semester? If so, what precautions or guidelines are in place? So Dwayne, do you want to take it just for the gyms that are in the halls, and then I could talk a little bit about Dodge?
The ones in the residence halls, we're going to keep them closed until at least October 1st. At that time, we'll evaluate whether or not we're able to open them. But Dodge is open, so if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. So Dodge Fitness Center is a part of Columbia University. They are open, and so you just want to make sure that you have everything you need to gain access to campus, which would be your green check mark from TC. I recommend that you go on their website just to check out their services. So that's perec.columbia.edu. We can drop that in the chat as well. But yeah, so just check that out before you go to campus, but you can access it now. Okay, so question about picking up campus IDs. Do we need to meet any requirements to pick up our ID on campus before the fall semester starts? So that one's for you, Dwayne.
No, we're actually giving out the cards now. We normally start handing out fall cards after August 1st, but to minimize the number of people coming into the office, we're handing them out now. If you want your card mailed to you, again, you could go on our website and get instructions on having the card mailed to you. Well, let me back up. You do need a government issued form of ID before you can pick up your card. Passport or driver's license.
Great. And we'll also put the link, we already did with the link about how to obtain. So that's all the instructions there. All right. A question, another one for you, Dwayne, is there a plan in place should there be a need to thin out the population on campus again? Will students be made aware of this plan in advance?
Well, we have our residence hall at capacities for which we do not think that we would need to do that. Whittier, which is our traditional residence hall, that's where most of our spaces are shared spaces, and we've kept that at close to 50%. So we feel that that's a safe enough between requiring the vaccine as well as testing and other, face coverings as well as enhanced cleaning. We do not feel that we would have to do that again. In the event that we have to do that, we would only be looking at shared spaces. We would not be looking at spaces where we have families. Those individuals are in apartments, and we feel that they can continue to live where they are.
Great. All right. Another one for you, Dwayne. Will the guest policy be changing for on-campus housing? I think you talked about this briefly, but if you want to touch on it again.
Sure. That's still being looked at, and we hope to have a decision in the next couple of weeks.
And will that be communicated to all the residents?
We will. We will notify, residents what it looks like and when they're to go into effect.
Cool. All right. Another one. Will residential services change their policy of not deferring housing apps? This is in reference to international students who can't come back until the spring because of their programs being online.
I'm not sure I understand that. Can I get clarification? Maybe have that question emailed to me?
Sure. Where should they email it? To housing?
white@tc.edu.
Okay. And Patricia, anything on your mind about that question with international students who might have their fall semester online?
And in relation to housing requirements?
Okay.
I think I need a bit of clarification regarding that question.
So whoever submitted that question, if you just want to give us more context, or you could just email Dwayne at housing@tc.edu, and then they could sort out your situation.
And Denise, I can say anyone who does not receive housing for the fall, they've applied for the fall, and they don't receive housing for the fall, they can request to have the housing application deferred to another semester without having to repay, and they maintain their original housing application date. If they've received an assignment for the fall and they're not going to come, that's different. They would need to reapply for housing, and the space that they were offered would not be guaranteed.
Perfect. That's helpful. All right. Moving on. I'm a current employee at CBS and a new incoming student at TC in the fall. If I have a green check on the Reopen CU app, will I have access to TC? I've already uploaded my vaccination for both. Tom, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So CBS is Columbia Business School. I understand the question. Is it possible to see the question again?
Yeah, so the question really is if they have the green check for Reopen CU, do they need to do TC's daily screening?
Yes. Yes. All TC students need to go through the TC process to get the Teachers College green check.
Great. Next question is, I have registered for 4 courses for the fall. All of them are currently listed as being online in the registration system. If every class I take is online, do I still have to live on campus? So I can quickly say, I think that is a personal choice, right? Your class locations are subject to change, but Dwayne, anything else you want to add to that?
It's hard to answer that. If you're living on campus and you're choosing to move off campus at this point, then you should let us know as quickly as possible so that we can reassign that housing space. But no one's really required to live on campus unless you've moved into campus housing and signed a housing contract. So I'm not sure how to answer that.
Great. And I think, again, like we've been saying this on the call, you can reach out to housing@tc.edu, the return to campus email. Even at GSLD, we're happy to take any of these questions and talk through one-on-one about personal situations. All right. So will there be some kind of email going out once the classes are set in stone as either online or distance learning or in person?
Yeah, I can answer that. So the classes are currently coded in the registration system, and we're in touch every single day with the registrar's office. So I don't anticipate modalities changing unless something changes with the instructor or something. But so I think as long as you're comfortable and you see that modality, that's what we're also anticipating, and that's also what we're expecting.
All right. For the COVID training, will there be an email regarding how to create a login before we are allowed on campus? Tom, do you have that one?
So sure. There is information on the college preparedness site of how to do that, but if whoever submitted that question, if you want to write to me individually, I can make sure to give you some specific instructions if you don't see them quite there for you. It should be very simple though, using your uni, but I'm happy to send you step by step. So just email me at tpr4@tc.columbia.edu.
Is there an app we should download to receive the green check? I can quickly answer this just because I just did it. No, there is not an app. So when you go on the preparedness website, you click on the link, and then when you fill out the survey, it'll give you it'll show up on your phone or a computer as a green check. I usually take a photo of that, but then they also email it to you too, so it's in your email. All right. Will there be will the online course option remain open even when the restriction loosens?
So I can take that one. So it's not an option, first of all, for remote online learning. It's a request, and it's a request based on a need. And the need currently is travel or visa restriction and medical health. So right now, as I mentioned in my earlier remarks, that is for the fall only. So we are not anticipating being able to even have those needs be requested for the spring semester. So we're approving, given this unusual situation and our return, approving these for fall only.
All right. So more questions about the green check. So the TC green check works at CU, but Reopen CU does not work at TC. I'm also a CU employee and use the Reopen CU.
Right. So for the CU employee, of course, you have to use the CU Reopen app to access anything at Columbia University, but you're absolutely right. That will not work at Teachers College. The Teachers College green check is supposed to work at Columbia, but since you're an employee, you're in a different situation. So I would encourage you, continue with the Columbia Reopen app for all of your employee status information. Anytime you want to come to Teachers College as a student, go through our campus access process.
All right. If I cancel my housing application due to being placed on an unrealistic wait list, am I entitled to a refund of the application fee? So that one's for you, Dwayne.
The application fee is a processing fee, so it's non-refundable, but we do allow you to defer your housing application to any other semester. So you can defer it to the spring, you can defer it to the summer, or even to next fall. And the nice thing about that, again, you get to keep your original housing application submission date.
All right. That is all. We have answered all of our questions. That's our cue. So I want to thank all the students who are watching today for tuning in and also for asking such great questions. To everybody on the call, thank you for all your insight. Just to remind students, you can always email the Return to Campus email at any time. It's returntocampus@tc.edu with any of your questions about the Return to Campus, and someone from our team will respond to it. We also have upcoming town halls that are taking place, and so a lot of the information will be the same, but as we update policies and procedures about the Return to Campus, we'll make sure to have that updated information in each of the town halls that we do. So you're there on the screen right now. So that's July 27th at 12 noon Eastern time, or August 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So again, and then this YouTube video will be able for you to watch at a later time should you want to recap on anything. So thanks again, everybody, and we're looking forward to seeing you on campus. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.